Another day with another treat. VirtualMan dropping version 6.1, 256 gigabyte for the Raspberry Pi B Plus, 1.4 gigahertz. You can easily overclock for even more performance, but damn, this one is awesome. My new A-rated Raspberry Pi B Plus image with the 256 gigabytes, over 8,000 titles, 15 plus systems, 300 PlayStation games, Nintendo 64 and Dreamcast working great out the gate. Not much to be done. This is a lot of it. It's just plug and play and game. So let's go ahead and check it out. First part, checking out the image. Last part, testing games. All right, here we are. VirtualMan bringing us version 6.1, 256 gigabytes. So his 128 gigabyte image reached my top 5. It's like first or second slot. Really awesome image. And what he's done here is he's expanded it to the 256 gigabyte, and he's made it for the brand new Raspberry Pi 3B Plus running stretch. So you can run this on the 1.4 gigahertz. You can even overclock this to like 1.5, 1.6. and have even better performance for all your retro gaming needs. Now, something to know about this is it only has 8,708 games, but it has a massive Dreamcast, PlayStation, Nintendo 64 collection. So you're going to get less of those old school games where people fill it up like Commodore 64, a lot of those Ataris, and other systems where it's just thousands and thousands of games. So the number seems low, but it's because it has a lot of high quality games. Speaking of space, I have this on a SanDisk Ultra 256 gigabyte SD card. I highly recommend that. Do not get the Silicon Power, but the Samsung Evo Plus and Evo Select are also good choices. The actual file size of this image is going to run at 223 gigabytes is the download, 239,548,494,336 bytes. Those SDs are around the $100 range for a 256. Also, if you're wondering, there's about 12 gigabytes left on this image, so it's not currently using all available space. I am going to disable the background music. It does come pre-installed with background music, but because it's borrowing some Motion Blue version 6 scripts, it's really easy to add and disable background music. Also adding bezels, changing the Sega Mega Drive to Genesis, all those great scripts on Motion Blue are also here. After you disable it, you will want to restart if you want it, but I think a lot of people might enjoy the background music. I'm just turning it off for this video. So now let's go ahead and go through the collections here, starting with arcade. We have 2,239 games. This is borrowing the emulation.cfg file from Mad Little Pixel. So most of the arcade games should run, maybe 1% of them will not run. This does have the picture and video snaps for all the games as well. And what I was saying is if you do, it has the config, so they should all be optimized for the right emulator for you already. But if they're not, you just hit A as you load up the game, and you can configure that however you like. Atari 2600, 630. ColecoVision, 140. Dreamcast, 15 games. You might be wondering what 15? Aqua GT, Choo Choo Rocket, Coasterworks, Cosmic Smash, Daytona, Giga Wings, Mortal Kombat Gold, Mr. Driller, Shenmue, Sonic Adventure 2, and Soul Calibur. Game & Watch 55, Game Boy 557, and I believe these are running the way I really like to play portables, which is not stretched. It's actually at the native resolution of the system. So there you go. Native resolution, nothing stretched out. Really cool way to play these games. This is going to be the same for Game Gear, Game Boy Advance, and other portable systems. So really cool. Game Boy Advance, 1,037, a lot of games there. INTELLIVISION, this is something newly added that I believe is not on the 128. You've got 120 games there. Sega Master System, 271. Sega Genesis, so it is changed for you. If you want to change it to Mega Drive, you can easily do that by going into the RetroPie menu and switching to Mega Drive. That's one of the scripts on Motion Blue. 767 games total. Nintendo 64, 299. And I'm glad that they included all these games because with this new RetroPie, the 1.4 gigahertz, it does play Nintendo 64 slightly better. So having those games accessible to you is a good thing. Neo Geo 141, Nintendo 781. Ports, these are full versions of the game. So you got Brutal Doom, Doom Nukem, 3D Quake, Quake Episode 5, Mission Pack 1, and 2. The great thing about these as well is they are configured for your PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360 style controller. No setup required. PSP Minis, 321 Super Crash, it's got my game, we're good to go. But it has a ton of PSP Minis here for you. PlayStation, 318. That is insane, guys. 318 PlayStation games. So here's the crown jewels of this image. Is 300. Now the PlayStation itself has something like 1600 plus titles for it. But you know, they're not all perfect and they're not all what you guys want to play. But I'd say with a 300 game collection, you're going to find some of those gems that you played as a kid. Some of those gems you grew up on. This is fantastic. As you saw there, we had both Gran Turismos, nice to see. Got your fighting games, you got your bicycle, and I'm sure we have our Tony Hawks. We got our sports games on here. We got our RPGs on here. We got some pinball games. I know we got some pinball fans out there. There you go. You got 3 of them right there. Boom. R-Type, some shoot 'em ups. You got some role-playing games there. All right. Star Wars, Star Trek, Street Fighter, Tekken, Tetris Plus, Simpsons Wrestling. You do got Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 and Twisted Metal. And you got your WWF, I believe. Let's see. We got wrestling. Yeah, we got your WrestleMania on there. XCOM, X-Men. So, whew, there's the crown jewels, guys. RetroPie, we'll check out a track mode a little bit later. ScummVM 52. So these are great. This is something I don't often see on a lot of images, and there's some great titles for ScummVM, and this definitely takes the cake as far as, you know, by the way, Larry, be careful. This is a mature game. Sega 32X. So I'm very happy that there's ScummVM. 32. Sega CD 55 does have your Echo the Dolphin, your Terminator, all the games you're going to want to play. Super Nintendo, what do we got? 784, nice to see. TurboGrafx 16, 94. 25 on Vectrex, Atari Classic. So now we're in the game collections. So since we're talking about game collections and the way Emulation Station works, you can easily change your game collections by going here, and you can unselect any of these that you do not want. Right now you can see that they're checked, and we would just uncheck them. So if I didn't want the Williams collection, I can go ahead and do that, and then that should be removed. Now it takes a second for this to load up. The other thing is this has been pre-installed with a lot of the common Emulation Station themes for you already. So you don't need the internet once you have this. You already have a bunch of themes in here. So we're on Box Alloy Red right now. We can go to Card Crazy, Comic Crazy. A lot of these are by Dwayne Hurst. Really cool themes. Greenalicious, Hursty Blue, Magazine Madness, Showcase, Snazzy, Box Alloy Blue, Box Alloy Red. Now I'm going to keep it on Box Alloy Red because that's what we were on already, and I don't want a long load time. And sometimes it requires a reboot when you want to switch those out. So these are all the collections that I just skipped over there. So Atari collections, beat 'em ups. So within beat 'em ups, you have all your beat 'em ups, for example. Within Capcom, you have all our Capcom games, and you have CPS 1, 2, and 3, which should also be in your arcade collection. And then you have the different publishers. You have the different games specific to those characters, like Sonic. And then you got custom collections. You got your NES Classic, SNES Classic, which are all those games originally included with the release of the SNES and NES Classic Mini, including Star Fox 2, for example. Okay, so there you go. Let's go ahead and jump into a track mode now, and let's show you that. Go down to here, switch to a track mode. All right, so here we are in a track mode, and what you'll see first is a display menu with your 24 different displays on here. So let's start at number 1. You have your arcades, you have your Nintendo 64, Neo Geo, Dreamcast, ScummVM, Nintendo, Game Boy, Sega Master System, Genesis, Sega CD, Game Boy Advance. So you're going to see all your systems, right? Okay, so this is menu number 1. If you try to go back from here, it'll just say, hey, are you sure you want to leave a track mode? Select is your home button, start is your back button. So do you want to, no. But I can go ahead and click in here, and when I go into arcade, for example, I have all my arcade games. You can see we're using a robo spin and track mode in this particular room. We can go left to right to go to the next system very easily, or we can go back by hitting the start button, which goes back a level, or we can hit the select button to go back home. Now you can edit all these controls by going to your track mode config and changing your controls very easily. Your controls within the emulator should be normal. That's done through RetroArch, through how you set it up in Emulation Station. So again, we can go into a system like Sega Master System, and then within that system we have a room. We can go back, as I mentioned, to the main menu and then go to a different system that way, or we can just go right to left between the rooms. There's also a track mode setup here, so let's go back. Let's see if we have it's called RetroPie. We go into RetroPie, and here are all your scripts accessible to you. So this is really nice if you want to change your bezels, you want to go back to Emulation Station, it's all in this menu right here. So this allows you to use a track mode with no keyboard whatsoever. This is a nice feature, really easy to use. Now, something I wanted to show you, considering gameplay, is Nintendo 64. Not every single Nintendo 64 game is optimized. So for example, if we wanted to play a Nintendo 64 game, let's pick one over here really quick. So here, when you boot up F-Zero, if you hit A immediately, you can go ahead and select your default emulator. Auto is going to do a lot of it. You might just want to go ahead and set that up off the bat. And then default video mode, you might want to go 720p. That's what I find the best setting. And just go ahead and then launch. And then that should save your settings for all the other Nintendo 64 games. You're going to probably find the best, performance ratio this way, and it still look really good. So here we go. It's running really good, as you see. 50 FPS. With all these kids in the way. They don't understand the pod racing. Final lap, guys. Gonna take the inside corner here, bust out onto the scene. Boom, boom, get out of my kitchen. Get that early apex. Freaking Kylo Ren, every time. Watch your back! Watch my back, I don't know. This is not gonna end well. We got Kylo Ren playing dirty over here. Oh. First. This is going to be an epic finish. I'm just going to block. I'm going to keep blocking until we can't pass. All right. Cool. So we can start select out of there. So N64 working really good. PlayStation runs fine. You guys have seen me play PlayStation games before.
Don't forget to tune in later when we have an exclusive interview with the legendary Zach.
Go!
That's running pretty good.
Okay, coming up next we've got Slipstream with the third release from their latest album. This is Fallen Angel.
All right, that was running really good. So if you want to go back into Emulation Station, you just got to find the RetroPie menu here and then go Emulation Station. Really simple. And then that's now your default boot. Otherwise, if you shut down in a track mode, it just will reboot into track mode. Here we are back on Emulation Station, and wow, wow, wow. What an image. I'm going to have to give this one an A+ because it's packing a punch. It has a lot of things I would want in an image. It still has 12 gigabytes free, so if you want to add like some of the Commodore 64 and some of those other systems where you can really pack in to get to like 13,000 games and things like that, you can go for it. But it also gives you some space for, you know, some more Sega CD or some more Dreamcast games or even more PlayStation games if that's what you want. But it already has a ton. Now, big shout out to VirtualMan. He did a great job on this. Everything from getting a track mode working, Emulation Station working great, all the themes installed, the bezel set up, the portable system optimized, the arcade set optimized. The only thing you might want to optimize is Dreamcast and N64, and as you saw, it's a press of a button to get that working. Really, really easy. This isn't Motion Blue version 6. It's actually just borrowing the scripts from Motion Blue, borrowing the scripts from Easy Hacks Forest, and a lot of Dwayne Hurst's themes on here as well. So shout out to all those guys for helping out and making this image possible. A couple other shout outs to Richie Gigabit, Death Throw, Randy Slim, Jahidu, Haxel66, 2Play, because they all helped everything from helping their Discord channel to the Raspberry Pi stretch issues to seating to artwork. Really good stuff from them. If you do, there's a Discord. If you'd like, there's a Discord channel below. It's a chat room. You can get a lot of information on this image, talk to VirtualMan himself and some people behind the project if you have any questions, or just you want to say thank you. I mean, they really appreciate when you go over there and just say, dude, I love your image. Really good stuff. That really just that one thanks goes a long way. This image was not easy. I was talking to VirtualMan along the way. You know, this is the second time, his second iteration on this particular image for the Raspberry Pi 3B+. So just want to give a shout out to him again because I know he did a lot of hard work to go back and forth, rebuild this, get it to work, get it to fit on that 256 gigabyte SD card without, you know, people having issues. Just a lot of little things done on here. So really, really great. That's why I gave it what I gave it. I'm in love with it. My new favorite 256 right here. Let me know if you guys got any questions. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll catch you on the next one.